I was just a teenager when MKO Abiola won the June 12, 1993 election. I didn't understand much about politics, but I understood the way people felt. I remember how the streets of Lagos erupted in celebration. Strangers hugged each other. Market women danced. Taxi drivers honked their horns like it was a wedding day. It was the first time I saw real hope in people's eyes. The man had done the impossible, won an election fair and square despite all the odds. But the happiness didn't last. A few days later, I noticed something strange. My father, who had been so joyful, suddenly became quiet. He would sit in front of the radio with a deep frown, shaking his head. The news was bad. The military wasn't happy. There were rumors that General Babangida, the head of state at the time, was under pressure from some powerful people who didn't want Abiola to rule. Nobody knew why. Some said it was because he was a wealthy businessman who couldn't be controlled. Others said it was because he wasn't from the right part of the country. But whatever the reason, one thing was clear. The military was planning something. Then the unthinkable happened. On June 23, 1993, the election was annulled. Just like that. No real explanation. The government simply said there were irregularities and the election results no longer mattered. I remember the way my father reacted. He stood up, suddenly, knocking over the cup of tea on the table. "They have stolen our future," he said, his voice shaking. "They have stolen our future." People were outraged. The protests started immediately. It was as if Lagos had caught fire. Students, market women, traders, and even civil servants took to the streets. They carried signs that read, "We voted Abiola and give us our democracy." But the military was ready. They sent soldiers and police officers to the streets. The first time I saw tear gas, I was standing at a bus stop. 1 minute, the air was clear. The next, my eyes were burning and people were coughing and running in different directions. Amid all this, MKO Abiola refused to stay silent. That was the moment I realized he wasn't just any politician. He was different. Other men in his position would have accepted defeat and moved on. But he didn't. Instead, he stood his ground. He declared himself the rightful president, and on June 11, 1994, he made the boldest move of his life. He publicly proclaimed that he was taking his mandate back. "Enough is enough," he said. Those words sent shockwaves across the country. The military didn't waste time. They came for him. On July 5, 1994, in the middle of the night, heavily armed soldiers stormed his house in Lagos. They arrested him like a common criminal, dragging him away while his supporters watched helplessly. That was the last time the Nigerian people saw him as a free man. They locked him up in a secret location, refusing to let anyone see him, not even his family. But even in detention, his presence was felt everywhere. His name became a symbol of the struggle. Protests intensified. The Nigerian Labour Congress went on strike. Businesses shut down. Lagos became a battlefield. I remember the day my older cousin came home with blood on his shirt. He had joined the protest at Yaba. The soldiers had opened fire on the crowd. He was lucky. Some didn't make it home at all. Yet, despite everything, Abiola refused to give up. The military tried to break him. They offered him freedom if he renounced his claim to the presidency. He refused. They cut him off from the outside world. He still didn't back down. For 4 years, he remained in detention. And in that time, Nigeria changed. The protests turned into riots. The international community started paying attention. Even the military began to lose its grip. Then in 1998, the unexpected happened. General Abacha, the man who had jailed Abiola, died suddenly. It felt like fate was truly working in his favor. The new military leader, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, started negotiations for his release. People believe that at last he will be free, but he never made it out alive. Some say his death was natural, others believe it wasn't, but one thing is certain: MKO Abiola sacrificed everything for democracy. He could have taken the easy way out, but he chose to fight, even when it cost him his freedom, his wealth, and ultimately, his life. Today, when I look at Nigeria, I wonder if we have done justice to his memory. Democracy came, but not in the way we imagined. The same problems still exist: corruption, bad leadership, greed. But one thing will always remain true: Abiola showed us that true leadership looks like. He taught me that democracy isn't just about voting, it's about fighting for what is right, even when the cost is high.